It's the Ringside Club Pub. A.O. Blame Boogie, Chad Law. The power's back, triple power bomb. The big dog trio in the stream yard. Go outside, hit the venue guard. It's all love when you see us, Lord. Back to the pad, on air for the pod. Ringside Club, intro to the squad. Let the show start. Just like that. Just like that. Room 112 where the Kayfabers dwell. We're back, man. Thursday night's main event. Thursday night's main event. Like we usually do, man. Thursday night live, 905 live, right off of that Thanksgiving holiday break. How was your Thanksgiving?
Yo, Thanksgiving was great, man. Just got to enjoy, a lot of love, family, what I'm saying? Good food. It's great energy, man. Football was really good. Packers won. My motherfucking Lions won. Shout to the Lions, man. Lions Nation, we here, baby. They up right now. They playing the Green Bay tonight. It's funny enough. Both teams last week, they won. They playing tonight. So it's a good game on TV right now for the NFL. Thursday Night Football fanatics. Thanksgiving was good, bro. We took a week off, but it was a holiday, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
We back, y'all.
So
definitely back. People was like, yo, shit, y'all off this week? Y'all gonna do a holiday episode? I was like, yo, we ain't even on that type of time yet, man. It ain't.
Like, enjoy the time. Like,
salute to the streamers, though.
Yeah,
that were getting it in on Thanksgiving. There were plenty of people in the space.
And to keep it a buck, I think like we might have done that a couple of years in the past, like not on the date, but like the day after or the day before, or playing.
Yes.
Just didn't get around to it this year. But
man, there's so much wrestling going on. It's like, dog, we gonna catch this shit when we catch it. At this point, like when you get us in a week or a week from now, a week from whatever, like it's gonna be even more content to consume, and you already forgot about last week. I mean, we talking about Survivor Series tonight, and we are going to talk about Survivor Series tonight, and that shit seems like ages ago at this point. And it was just this past weekend.
It was this weekend, right?
It was just this weekend, and it seems like, man, that shit was like 3 weeks ago, man. What was that, like Crown Jewel? I feel like that just happened, you know what I'm saying? Oh shit! Oh no, we did do a full gear. We did do a full gear show. We did a prediction show for full gear, right? We didn't talk about actual full gear,
bro. I don't even remember. I don't remember. Yeah, I feel like we might have talked about it, but nah. I mean, at the end of the day, we can do that. We can do both today. Just quick little thoughts on.
I mean, it'll tie into the current AEW. You know what I mean? What's going on with everything they got going on with full gear and the post full gear stuff. So we'll get into it. We got our usual topics, y'all. Prepped and cooked, Champions Watch. We got some news as well, too. Y'all see some of the news has been going out in the news report, so we wanted to make sure we talked about it. And also, let's talk about Continental Classic a little bit.
Before we even do any of that, before we even really, really get started, let's remind everybody there's that QR code that's right above my head. It will take you to theringsideclub.com. That's where all of the past episodes, all the future episodes are there. The merch is there. You can cop the classic Ringside Club logo tees. You can cop the current Ringside Club logo tees, hoodies as well. Definitely hoodie weather. So make sure you bundle up. That is available. You can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other podcast platform. You can definitely subscribe if you're not watching live right now on the YouTube. You can catch everything on demand, obviously. And of course, we're on all socials. We're on the TikToks. We're on the X. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram, Threads, etc., etc. Come chop it up. My name, of course, I go by the name of A.O. Baker. Peace to the good sir, third member of the Ringside Club, Mr. Blame Boogie. Chad, what up?
It's the kid, Chad Law, CHADLAW, live and direct from NYCZ. Comfy on the big comfy couch right now. I'm off an edible, so it's going to be a fun show.
Jesus.
Got an edible and some cut water in me. You know what I mean?
What vitamins?
You know what I mean? No, it's actually I had a workout class today. Shout out to F45. I joined F45. It's a group training
Oh,
class.
you've
It's
been
actually
doing
really
that.
dope.
You've been doing that consistently then.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause
yeah.
I
So
like
that
funny enough, like I was just like reorganizing something on the YouTube page, and I came across one of the episodes you was talking about, like using the robe fresh off the class. Like I just did the such and such class.
yo, they kick your ass in these
Yeah.
workout classes, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's definitely gonna be serious. You know what I mean? I'm trying to look like I'm training to be a wrestler for 2025. That's how I'm trying to have it, man. I'm trying to look
Yo,
like MJF, man.
man said Ica Pro law is in effect.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I might look like Creative Pro's next fucking superstar. Who knows, man? Might catch me up there, man, doing my damn thing. But nah, shout out to the workout journey. Shout out to everybody getting their health right for the 2025. You know what I mean? It's necessary. So my body just needed it, man. I need a good edible and a drink.
That on the opposite spectrum of that, I legitimately live across the street from a gym that I am absolutely a member of, and I haven't been since 2 months
Nigga just
ago.
got the tell me you pay for the yearly.
Nah, I pay for the month.
This nigga's just like, yo, where's that 25 go?
25.
Oh, you got the super gym.
I got the 50, bro.
Oh shit.
I'm paying a cable bill over there, man.
Oh, you paying the gym bill. Oh shit.
That's,
Yeah, son.
I'll be
That's
back. I'll be back. My goal for 2024 is to get there before we hit 2025.
yeah, you only got less than a month though, so it's all right. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
just gotta
saying?
go once. I
A
just
little
gotta go
less than a
once.
month. You know what I
I
mean?
just
Make
gotta go
sure your
once.
rent is paid up for the rest of the year.
I
All
just
that
gotta
good
go
shit.
one time, bro. Let me do a pull up and walk back across the street, man.
That's
I swear, I had like the best of intentions. I was like, yo, I'm gonna do this such and such gym, and all I gotta do is because I was at Planet Fitness before,
I ain't
and
got
they
no shame with Planet Fitness. I
no,
was
I
LA
love
Fitness slash
I
Planet Fitness
love
nigga.
Planet Fitness. I love
It's the
Planet Fitness.
hours. It's the convenience of 24 hours to me that I like. That's why I fuck with Planet Fitness.
It wasn't even hours. It was just like the convenience of, damn, I could just go to this one that's across the street, and in my mind, that makes up for the price difference. That's great if you go.
If
You know
you
what I
go
mean? But I had the Planet Fitness Black Card. I could go to any
any
Planet Fitness,
location, yes.
and
So I
I
fuck
was
with it.
just like,
Shout out to
"Nah, Imma
Planet
do this
Fitness.
one." But yeah, I'm not a
Nah,
big
shout out to
equipment guy. I just go there, bare bones, man. Let me hit the treadmill, let
Cart.
me hit the bike, let me hit the free weights or whatever. I'm in there in and out an hour, some change, something like that. I'm not in there like hooping it up with nobody, none of
Yo,
that
it'd be dogs in
classes.
there.
They play it's
Breakfast,
like
lunch,
semi-pro.
dinner.
There's semi-pro ball players that are in your LA Fitness right now. Semi-pro, like big 3 league, dog.
Yo, geez, tearing your Achilles after work
At the LA
at
Fitness.
the LA Fitness. No, no, I can't even shout out the name, but I really seen it, man.
No,
Like, yo, that's my guy too. Like, that's
oh
my dog.
man.
But son, tearing your Achilles after work before you go home to your kid.
Hey.
Like, what a wild time to have that happen in the time space of, yo, I just got off. I got to the gym. I ain't make it to dinner and my family yet, and my Achilles is tore because a young nigga done crossed me up and fucked my shit up.
That's quite honestly the definition of for the love of the game, bro. Like you love nothing but this. You willing to sacrifice ligaments,
You
man.
could have skipped an Achilles tear if you'd have just went home afterwards.
He hit the clock out machine and said, I'm going to the gym,
I
dog.
gotta get this ball, man.
I
Ball is
got
life.
it.
It's one of them ball is life guys. You know what I'm saying? You know how they go. Like, yo, I
Yeah,
gotta.
but Bowler's life was what it was like 20 years ago, man. You got oil them joints up now, man.
Dog, once you tear your Achilles, Jesus. According to Kofi Kingston, man, tore my shit off the bone. And I ain't Kofi off Xavier. I tore my shit off the bone and I came back,
Shit,
man.
I
So
came back. Your man's is definitely hitting the gym. As soon as he gets doctor's clearance, he's back in the building. Swiping that app.
yo,
Doo
I
doo.
don't know
I'm
what I'd do
here.
if I tore my Achilles right now, bro. I'd really be upset. I might fall into a depression. I think I might pod more than I ever podded in my life.
I think one of the first things I do is figure out what story I'm telling everybody because that ain't it. How you hurt yourself? Yeah,
How do you
somebody.
explain an Achilles tear? You not an athlete.
You gotta be creative, man. Like somebody just stole my car. I was on foot trying to
I
get
was
it back.
running.
Yeah,
I just tripped and fell down the stairs. You know, I got the brownstone, so I just
yeah.
just
Little
tumbled.
light
Like,
flex. Yo, I own that brownstone, right? So
Ice. It's December. I slipped. I
I was
fell.
bringing a pack of water upstairs. One of the bottles fell through the plastic. It bust open, spilled. I slipped.
Smart. Dog. That is fucking funny, son. An Achilles tear
Craziness.
as a 30-something-year-old man, as a non-professional athlete. Yo, I really seen it, man.
Blessings up, man.
Yeah, salute to everybody watching right
Respect
now
for the
with a torn
life.
Achilles. Enjoy us. Like, subscribe. We appreciate y'all. If
You
your
know what
Achilles is torn, you have no choice but to sit and watch us
you
right now.
gotta sit
So
and watch. You know what I'm on right now? Spindrift, of course, right? But the no heat though, 'cause I was already on the lime spindrift. This is like lime and mint, like a regular mojito. This is really good.
I
Like
fuck with the
really, really good.
competition. I got put onto the competition. I fuck
What's that?
with that cut water.
I don't know if I had cut water yet.
Cut water is the new Four Loco.
What is that?
It's basically the liquor in a can. Lime
Oh, it's one of
margarita
those. Yeah,
with
yeah.
mango madness.
I'm on the regular degular. They
12.5 alcohol, 13% alcohol.
Jesus. So that's like
It's
that's the tequila joint, right?
yes, there
A
is
tequila or
that.
vodka, one of them.
It's all the flavors. They got Long Island iced tea, margarita, lime tequila is what I had. That shit has got me planted. Between that and edible, I damn near gonna melt into the screen via the couch.
Man, it said crossfade.org.
Yeah, I
crossfade.org.
needed it, man. I needed it after that workout. Yo, my body was like, dog.
How
I
often do you
keep
go?
twice a week,
Or
twice a week.
just so happens to be on pod days, so you gotta come in here hurt.
It's just like I
Man,
swear, one of these
it's
Thursdays I'm
taking
gonna just
everything
propped up
you
like
have
this.
left. Yeah, everything you have left.
Dog, it feel good though. Like I'm happy. Like shit, I'm on the couch right
Nah, that's what's
now.
up.
I'm comfortable. Phone
That's what's up.
charge, iPad charge. This fucking alarm is still going off though. It just went off. I don't know if you heard it, but
Nah, I don't hear anything.
all right. So that's even better then, because I still got to deal with this because this guy is just clearly not gonna turn his car off after 2 hours. Yo,
You know how I go. I happened around the corner a couple of times. Everybody looking around like, fam, somebody got to shut that off. Like we're at 2 a.m. at this point. Like
yo,
somebody
dog.
gotta.
It's been 2 hours and your hoopty
Yeah,
is still ringing
it's all right. The battery's gonna
right now.
die. Either he clicks the alarm, or the battery dies.
Yes, that's essentially what's going to happen. The battery's going to have to die, and they're going to have to figure out, like, oh shit,
Yeah. Yo,
there's
no.
that.
Speaking of cars, no lie. You know what I did today? Go to the supermarket and I park behind the supermarket. I usually park in the front. I'm on autopilot, so they have it's like two parking lots. You got a
Oh,
parking lot
okay, okay,
behind. You
okay.
got a parking lot in the front. I always
Yeah,
park in the front, but today, direction I was coming from, I park in the back. So I go get whatever I got, come out with the cart. I go to the front, just on autopilot, completely forgetting that I put the car in the back. And I walked around the parking lot for a good strong 5 minutes. I was another 15 seconds away, swear to God, from calling the cops. Like, yo, my car was stolen, bro. I had my phone in my hand. And I was like, oh, I'm in the back.
yeah. You would have thought you was off the edible in the cut water, son. That's
Man.
crazy.
And then I'm still with the cart. I just walked straight through the entire supermarket to the back. Like, oh, all right. Because the other thing is I got the remote and I'm hitting the remote. It's not, I guess it's not in range for whatever reason.
Nah, boy,
Craziness, man.
you was definitely
Autopilot,
that's
bro.
some stone shit right there. It's like, nigga, I
Autopilot.
thought my car got stolen. I hate when that feeling happens though. When you
Dog, I
think
had
your
my
car gets
phone
stolen.
in my hand.
That's
Like
Manhattan.
I'm about to call the authorities.
I park in Manhattan, and sometimes, depending on where I'm at, I might come out and just
Yeah.
click, 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 because it's like, dog, you
Yeah.
never know how that shit go out there. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
that's a
You can
fact.
read the sign, but then the sign underneath it is what you missed, and then that's the one that gets you fucked up.
Yeah. That happened to
Yeah,
me
you
too.
good from 7 to 10, but 10 to 12.
Yo, say, yo, you're good from 7 to 10, except for 9:30 to
yeah,
9:45.
yeah, that's the
Oh, all
time.
right. Okay. Thanks for the warning.
Parking in New York City, y'all. Just be
Thanks for
very
the
mindful,
info.
man. Be very fucking mindful.
Yeah.
Um, shit, man, we got so much on the docket. I did want to start off first with Josh Alexander. He's about to be a free agent as of February. He's making the talks of the towns. He just did his Chris Van Vliet interview. And, he made mention to wanting to reunite with Ethan Page. He made mention of wanting to wrestle some of the names in WWE. He made mention of wanting to wrestle some of the guys like Copeland and Kenny Omega and Moxley in AEW. He mentioned plenty of guys in New Japan. He hasn't touched New Japan soil. So, as a Josh Alexander fan, I'm looking forward to his next step. I think he's done all he can in TNA. And me right now is where I stand off this news. I hope he goes to NXT. And I know a lot of people are like, yo, you are always the NXT, everyone needs to go there guy. But there's certain people that I think would thrive in that environment right now. And I think Josh Alexander would be one of them that could plug and play and go right to TNA. I mean, right to NXT from TNA. Whether it's tag team with Ethan Page reuniting or a feud, he'd be a top dog main event player against Trick Williams, and he'd probably bring the best out of Trick Williams, and he'd be a long time NXT World Heavyweight Champion like he was in TNA. So put it in the air right now. Josh Alexander, WWE/NXT, and right before WrestleMania season. But that is the period where they freeze the hires, though, I believe, right? So I don't think we'll be seeing him if he does come in. He wouldn't come in until after Mania, probably.
I'm sure they like. It seems to me like that's a case by case basis. Like I think in general that's probably the rule, but I'm sure they make an exception if they feel whoever they're bringing in is worth it. You know what I mean? And they have like a interesting creative around them.
Or he'd get that classic NXT crowd, you
Yeah,
know,
he's sitting there in the crowd, paying over.
Josh Alexander. It's like,
Right,
yeah,
right, right, right,
that's
right, right.
how you feel about it? If you too familiar, I don't know if you're too familiar with Josh Alexander, but
Me love Josh Alexander.
I mean, I don't know if you be on your TNA shit sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I keep up with TNA more so than I keep up with NXT to be honest. But like I think I mean again I don't know my my general point of view is always is go wherever you're gonna go where they're gonna use you. You know what I mean?
Of
So
course. But
whatever.
if you had to see the vision of where you want to
I
enjoy
don't have a
Josh
vision
Alexander
for him other
matches,
than I think it'd be interesting to see Josh and Ethan interact with each other, not together, but interact with each other. Look how far I've come. Look at what you've done over there. You're a
mm-hmm,
former NXT champ. Now I want that spot. Now you're in my way because you're kind of still in the ranking. I think like there's a cool story to tell there, especially because there's been so much crossover with TNA and NXT this year that
mm-hmm,
there probably are, a few dozen or so fans or, whatever the number of fans that may have gone and done some history. You know what I mean? Just oh
right,
shit, that was a tag team. Plus, like you already know, like anytime there's a major move, TNA Social is on it, right? So they're gonna put the entire history of the North on social, on YouTube immediately. You know what I mean? Which I respect. You know what I mean? I definitely respect it. But other than that, like as far as like dreaming up matches, Josh Alexander is fired. So if he's in a match or an angle or any kind of situation with anybody else that can hold their weight, it's gonna be fired. So I'm not concerned about that. I just wherever you go, just hopefully they have something interesting for you to do. That's it. I think the cool thing about Josh is that I haven't really heard any stories about like sour grapes. You know what I mean? Like I'm unhappy here and I want to
yeah,
go to
he's a
this
solid
dirt sheet and blah blah blah.
person.
Like he's done so much in NXT, I mean in TNA, and I really
Yeah,
like him as a heel. You know what I mean? Even though it's hard, I guess, to boo Josh Alexander.
he's that
You know,
Kenny Omega heel. It's like you don't want to boo that guy.
exactly.
Man,
Like
that's fucking good.
if you booing him, you're booing respectfully because you want to buy into the character and help support whatever that direction is. But Josh in general, I just think like there's no flaw to me. I think what I was impressed the most from his heel work was seeing that goody personality go to the side and him really like let his personality shine a bit more on the microphone and interacting with the two young boys he has with him. Um, so like there's no hole in his game. Again, it's just a matter of what's the creative, what's the direction, what's the booking. And generally speaking, like whether it be NXT, SmackDown, Raw, um, it's tough for me to look across the aisle and say AEW just because there's too many people there. You know,
That's another reason why I'm just like, I know people are gonna be like, "Yo, he'd have matches with dream matches with Ricochet and dream
yeah.
matches with
I think
Takeshita
like
and
the matches are there,
Osprey."
but the matches are there, and I don't think that that's an issue in either company. Like there's a bunch of matches. If I were to pull a roster up and say this, these five people on SmackDown, these five people on Raw, these five people, I would rather see him if put it this way: if he's going to WWE and I'm picking a brand, I'd probably exclude NXT just because I don't watch it. You know what I mean? And I think to me that there's more interesting, like imagine him and Andrade, for example. You know, if there's something interesting that they could do, but the match is gonna slap. You know what I'm saying? The match is going to slap. So
Oh man,
there's your SmackDown. On Raw, imagine the juxtaposition of
him and
in
Seth Rollins.
I mean, Seth to me is a given, but just think of how he would have to interact with Bronson Reed. You know, that size difference and the athleticism there and
I
the
was gonna
attitude.
say Gunther. I say Gunther or Braun Breaker.
You know what I mean? So there are some names here where, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. And it all boils down to, okay, the matchups are there. What creatively are you going to do? You know, it doesn't have to be complicated. We just have to figure out what's an issue, what's a personal issue, what's my point of view, why does that clash with this person's point of view, and just line it up. You know what
As
I
the
mean?
New Japan analyst of the RSC, take AEW and WWE out of it. How do you think he fares in New Japan full time?
I think he'd do great over there. Um, because they're for one a bit more, in ring focused. He's gonna absolutely do numbers from that point of view. And then creatively, it's everything is faction based in New Japan, way more
Right.
so than anywhere else, right? So the interesting thing is like, all right, if Josh Alexander goes to New Japan, is he going to be surrounded with and why?
The mighty don't kneel.
Would be interested, you know what I mean? But then there might be clash there because I can see like Josh Alexander wanting to come in and be like a top guy and Saber's is the top guy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which sidebar, Saber and Josh in a series going back and forth is stupid.
That'd
You
be
know what I mean?
tough. That's
So
tough.
I mean, like that's dope. I just don't see that really being a realistic outcome because Japan is Japan and he has a family. If he was, 15 years younger, still dope, still at the top of his game, but maybe didn't have the family, I think it'd be easier for him to do that.
I
But
like that he still throws it out there though. You know what I'm saying? It's like still
yeah,
giving him like, yo, I can go to New
well, he's
Japan. I can
got
go to
to
Japan.
because until an announcement is made or a tweet is sent, you can't let the cat out of the bag yet. You know.
I just like him just announcing like I'm going to New Japan full time. I just feel like I feel like the New Japan crowd would be like yes, and then the rest of us would be like, all right,
So maybe get
it
yourself a New
works.
Japan World subscription and watch that.
Yeah. I feel like I think that could be the pivot for him to be like, yo, I will be the one to be the next face because I feel like
I'm
as
not
we talked about,
sure. Yeah, I'm
main
not
event
sure if
scene could use some refreshing.
Alexander. I don't know. It'd be it would work, but like creatively, a lot of that is based on like, all right, who you surrounding him with, what's the faction, and then what's his immediate direction. You know what I mean?
You
Because
just
like
can't
yo,
have him come in and be the leader of Bullet Club again, like the rest of everyone.
and yo, like Bullet, it could work. Like people clown on Bullet Club, but Bullet Club's been killing it this year. It's just cool to say the Bullet Club is corny. They're not.
Yeah.
It's just cool to say. It's cool to say. I'd be laughing like corny niggas be man.
I mean, I fuck with
Anyway,
Gabe Kidd, so it's like, you know what I mean? I'm
Gabe
here.
Kidd is killing it. I
I'm here
think
for it.
Finley didn't get off to the strongest start.
Nah, he's quiet, man. Finley is
No, Finley
crickets.
did not get off to the strongest start, but he's had a great 2024.
He came back.
He's had a great 2024. The Bullet Club War Dogs in general is a dope faction. Gabe Kidd being the most high profile. Which is why he's Gabe Kidd has gotten himself so hot that he's Kenny Omega's return match. What
Gabe
is
Kidd's gonna be a
right?
name that
So
we speak
and
about.
if Gabe Kidd is at the top of Bullet Club, then how is Bullet Club whack if Gabe Kidd is hot enough to be Kenny Omega's return match?
Nah, fair assessment. Very fair assessment. I can see that. I think Gabe Kidd's gonna be a name that we are speaking about a lot in 2025.
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
beyond New Japan, like yo, Forbidden Door, Gabe Kidd and Will Ospreay, like you know what I mean, that
I
type shit.
think especially after this match with Omega, for anybody that might have been on the fence, because that match is gonna make the rounds because it's Kenny Omega's match. By the time we get to June for Forbidden Door season, Gabe Kidd is immediately in a marquee match on that show.
Yes,
You know what I mean? It's no longer like can Gabe Kidd get on a card. I would run Gabe Kidd and MJF. He's been calling them out, he's been calling everybody out really, but run Gabe Kidd and MJF. at Forbidden Door.
I could see Gabe Kidd having a return match for Eddie Kingston as soon as he gets back,
That they have to do that because
just
he
to
put
run
him
that
out.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, just to run it
he's
back.
he put him out.
Yeah, just to run it back.
But yeah, like so. But back to just finishing up on Josh Alexander. Like again, did everything you could possibly do in TNA. Um, and I love to see like TNA in general is continuing to grow and they're doing great. They just announced that they're doing UBS next year for Slammiversary. They're doing
That last pay per view audio and video quality was kind of like, I don't know what house show vibes they was on for Turning Point, but that
I
was a
think
little weird.
that was at WrestleCade, so I'm not sure if that was their regular setup. That was like part of like a bigger festival or something like that.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Moose X Division champion.
Yeah,
JBL still running in shit and just clothesline everybody with no end
yeah,
game. No idea what's going to happen with that, but they're going to keep stringing us along. I'm kind of cool with that. I'm fine with it.
yeah. But they're doing LA and New York next year. You know what I mean? So
Shout to those more. Shout to us getting TNA more frequently. I was just talking about that. Like before they announced it, I was like, man, I really wish TNA would come to New York more often. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
Slammiversary. And I still date have not been to UBS, and I'm not I'm not far. I could spit at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
UBS is all right.
but
UBS is
UBS for a
definitely straight.
TNA joint might be kind of fire.
MLW tonight too, Eric Bischoff. You know what
That's
I'm
live
saying?
right now. I'm actually
Live
gonna
right now.
I'm gonna tap
I
into that
just,
once we're
I don't
done
know,
here.
man. I couldn't sit through Kojima and Ultimo Guerrero as a main event, bro. I don't know, man. No
I'll check it
disrespect
out.
to other talents, but you
Yeah,
know what I'm
I'll
saying?
check it
I
out.
just didn't want to do that live. Just wasn't in it for me, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not crazy about Kojima being a world heavyweight champion at this point. There's many other talents that can be world heavyweight champion other than Kojima. To me,
I ain't got nothing against them. I also don't know what they're doing over there because I don't watch consistently, so can't call it.
I'm caught up to for the most part, and Alex Kane is fighting Bobby Fish in a
They did like some kind of horseman stable over there.
Boomaye Club. He's feuding with Bobby Fish. They're having a fist. They're having like an MMA style match, I believe.
Ah,
That's what Eric
but isn't
Bischoff
like
gave me
is
today.
Bobby Fish and Arn Anderson's kid and like two other people there?
Brock Anderson and somebody else. Well, Matt Riddle's there
Isn't this
too.
is CW Anderson?
C.W. Anderson.
Yeah, it's like four people. They're not calling it the Horsemen, but it's basically that, you know.
Yeah, anything with Bobby Fish is already.
Man.
He's lucky that he's just not going back to AEW right now. Because if he could, he would be in that Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, which is where we will start off our prepped and cooked for this week. It was tough, man. It was real tough to decide which of these options would be prepped and which of these options would be cooked. Uh, but I'm gonna go with prepped being final decision. Everyone in the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. Lance Archer, Brian Cage, who is still making his way on television yet not winning. Mark Davis, Rocky Romero, Action Andretti, Leo Rush, everyone except even Kyle O'Reilly, and he won. Actually, Adam Cole. I'm gonna throw the whole entire group of that battle royal in there because that might have been one of my weakest points of Dynamite was the battle royal. It's just like, yo, dog, we didn't even need to get to a Dynamite Dozen battle royal. We could have just had Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. Winner fights MJF. Get the storyline over with. Like, just end it. I think the reactions from everyone just shows you that like no one really wants this.
I think the only reason they did the battle because 100% you could have done that match to get to MJF, but they are keeping up with tradition for what they've been doing with the ring. I guess is the only reason they did the battle royal.
Did you honestly remember that?
What did they do the battle royal for the ring? Yeah.
Like when it was happening, you were like, "Oh, it's that time of the year."
No, I mean like leading up to it, no. But once they said this is what we're doing, they do the same thing
Yes.
every year. They've been doing it 5, 6, 7 years, something like that.
And it's like, yo, this is what we're fighting for with MJF and Adam Cole. Now it's just like, yo, it's the Dynamite Diamond Ring now. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, yo. Like I this is why I had to prep everybody. I couldn't say they're cooked because the person I have is cooked is really cooked after this week. But prepped wise, everyone in that battle royal to me, I just don't think is going to get anywhere better in the next week, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 months from now. bold, but I just don't see Kyle O'Reilly, Rocky Romero having anything significant to do. Brian Cage and Lance Archer, they're going to be here. Adam Cole. For some reason, I just feel like Adam Cole is going to get fed to John Moxley, rightfully so, after this MJF feud ends. And then where does MJF go from here? We'll talk about it at a later time. But prepped wise for me, I just think everyone in that battle royal, I'm just like, this is a collection of jobbers here. And really, I
That's
looked at a
what
lot
they're
of the
there.
cards.
That's what
Like,
they're there to do, man.
I couldn't pick nobody as a prep for me this week. Like, a lot of the people that lost, like, significantly, like, I mean, it was rightfully so, rightfully the call. But this one stood out glaring to me because I watched it. I watched the whole thing. I was like, yeah, this is rough. So agree,
That's what they're there to
disagree,
do. That's what they are there to do.
agree, disagree, prepped, cooked with that. Um, my cooked Pete Dunne. He's out of here, man. He's done. It's a damn shame that Ridge Holland is the one who's going to be main eventing NXT. And probably will be the NXT World Heavyweight Champion before Pete Dunne. I think that's what has me more upset. And then Pete Dunne to lose to R-Truth, on top of losing the Trick, on top of losing to Sheamus. It's just like, what's going on here with this Pete Dunne shit, man? Like, what are we doing? Like, how do you have an amazing bruiserweight and he's the loserweight now? Like, I can't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm just such an advocate for Pete Dunne. I fuck with Pete Dunne that I'm just like, why isn't he the World Heavyweight Champion of NXT already? You know? So, just this past week, it's like if all we had to do was an R-Truth loss, it's like, I'm good, yo. He's cooked. He's cooked for me this week, bro. And if a feud with R-Truth is about to be what gets Pete Dunne back hot, he's still cooked to me, yo. He's cooked, man. How you feel? Agree, disagree?
I was surprised that they still kept with the Butch chants and throwing that back in Pete Dunne's face. Like, why are we doing that? You know what I mean? Like, let
Yeah.
that die.
Yes.
Because like even though it's used against him instead of that being a name that he chooses to go by, it's still seen as comedy, mid card, lower mid card, you know, nothing that you can attach to like a serious contender for much of anything, which is why he's in a feud with R Truth right now. You know what I'm saying? Like R Truth is the man, but R Truth's genre.
you
And
know his you know his leg, you know the style, right?
you know what
When
I
you in an
mean?
R-Truth feud, you know what I mean?
You know what
You a comedy act now.
R Truth does. And I never saw that for Pete Dunne. So when he when he was Butch, I'm like, damn, this is bad. And then when they got Butch up off of him, but then threw it back at him, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, but to Pete Dunne's credit, I think like if they ever do decide, and I don't know that I feel confident that they're doing this anytime soon, but if they ever do decide to heat him back up, I think he can be credible enough because he's that good.
I think so too,
But it's
man.
just like Pete Dunne for me is one of those really, really confusing ones, for the entirety of his post NXT UK career, really. I just haven't understood what they've been doing with him.
He's the best man, never the actual groom.
He's not even the best man. Like, who has he been next to that's been the guy? That would
Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes, that was
but
probably his apex.
Sheamus was always like, the old couch. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the old, he's been here. You know what Sheamus does, but he by the time Pete Dunne got around him, it wasn't like Sheamus was a world champ. It wasn't like Sheamus was hot enough that when Pete Dunne turned on him, it's like, oh shit, barbershop window. Like this is crazy. It was like, oh, this is gonna be a cool little angle, and then they're gonna move on.
They had a Donnybrook match and it was
You see
over.
what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, like Pete was always one of my favorite guys going all the way back to Progress.
I fuck with him, man.
Before Progress was on the WWE network. Like
Trust me, as an NXT guy, I am going to be upset if Ridge Holland becomes the World Heavyweight Champion before Pete Dunne. Like, I need answers.
I wouldn't it's not even an upset type of thing. It's
As a fan,
just
I'm gonna be upset. Like, but as the podcaster, it's like, yo, this is business. But as a fan, I'm like, yo, dog, how is fucking Pete Dunne not at the apex of his division finally? And he's been there for years.
yeah, like Pete. Let me look up how long he's been in WWE. I'm
He
curious, like when he's. It's got to be like 2014, something like that.
on top, and then you parentheses his NXT run, the call up, and the comeback to NXT. It's like it's got to be at least a dime, yo. Like close to a dime, has to be now. He was there for the Black and Gold 2.0, the revamp. He's been here. Like for him to not even have a belt, yo. Think about it. What was the last belt Pete Dunne won? He wasn't a North American champ. He wasn't a tag champ. Well, he was a tag champ for I think for a hot second with Matt Riddle. That was short lived. If that was even a thing, I might just be fucking coming off the top of my head with that one.
All
Uh,
right, the first UK tournament was 2017. 2017. So he's been there for 7 years.
Close to a dime. That's fine.
7 years. And again, like outside of the NXT UK work, like once that brand ended, it's been pretty downhill for.
It's been all bad for Pete Dunne, and I just don't like to see it. Unfortunately, that's why I say he's cooked for this week.
But he
Well,
he I chalk that up, like there's a couple guys that we've talked about AOP, for example, a bunch, where it's like, man, I don't get it. Like everything that I would want in like a super dangerous. Imagine I've been saying like looking coming out of Survivor Series and looking at the bloodline, looking at how effective a tag team of Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu could be, right? Just
but then you already have a tag team in the bloodline.
fuck them. What I'm saying is, yeah, but I mean, you put them up against Bronson Reed and Jacob
Like I
Fatu.
said,
Just
fuck this other side of the
like,
faction of
what
the
are we
bloodline,
talking
man.
about? Like, Gorillas of Destiny are cool, but then we have Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu. But point being is like, think about how dangerous that tag team is, how formidable, how dominant they could be.
That
I
is.
see not as flashy offense as Reed and Fatu have, but just the intimidation and the size factor and the strength that AOP brings to the table. And they have a look,
They could be Brothers of Destruction, new Brothers of Destruction vibes.
if nothing else, you look at WWE and how much attention they pay to the aesthetic of the wrestler. Going back to when Vince was there, it's always the land of the giants because they had this thing, like Vince had this thing I've heard a bunch on podcasts where it was like the airport test, where if my wrestlers don't walk through the airport and garner attention, then how am I supposed to push them? You know,
Yes.
to paraphrase, if AOP is walking around, I don't know exactly what their height is. They could be like almost like a Taz situation, but there are some jack dudes. That they at the very least they've done 15 push-ups today. They look like they might be able to fight. You know,
To AOP's discredit, I think something the Undertaker said in one of his recent shows was that I caught was actually pretty smart. He was talking about Brothers of Destruction, and after I watched that interview, I think it made so much sense when I look at some of the tag teams around that are believable. Even if you strange bedfellow some of these guys, you can't have two 300-pound monsters be the front runners of the tag team division because how are we supposed to lose? Like we're two
man, it's
monsters.
almost like being creative is a thing in a creative industry. Figure it out.
Well, essentially, that's why the Undertaker said him and Kane was short lived as a tag team. He was like, "Yo, we smoked the whole division. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, like the only people that can beat us at this point technically should be Steve Austin and Triple H."
But again, like,
And I remember that era vividly because I was like, "Yo, they were mad short." Like that was when the two-man power trip was coming about. So like,
right. But I mean, again, this is where you get creative. If and they imagine Undertaker and Kane are faces and they're going up against a much small. Let's take Steve Austin and Triple H off the table. Just look at the Dudleys, right? What if we run the Dudleys versus the Brothers of Destruction? Obviously Kane and Undertaker are bigger. They're both former world champions, so they bring a higher caliber, a higher pedigree. But you have the
yes,
Dudleys on this side that have way more experience in the ring as a tag team. Even though y'all are supposed to be quote unquote brothers, we're brothers too. But we've been doing this tag team thing exclusively, so we're masters at this. So we know how to maneuver. If we can't out fight you, we have to outthink you, which means we got to take one of y'all out. How are we going to do that? Maybe we clip uh
y'all do a tables
Kane
match.
tables match. Maybe we clip Kane's ankle in the back, and knowing that the Undertaker is super duper prideful, he's gonna want to go 2-on-1. Again, I'm just freestyling right here, but this is how creative
You
people
ain't
have.
wrong though. Dudley's was around for that. Like this was right before the invasion, so it's like
Right. So point being, you can do that. You can have AOP run through the entire tag team division. And if they lose to DIY, let's say, it wouldn't be because DIY is matching them up against them strength for strength. They have to outthink them.
they
I can't
outsmarted them.
overpower you, so I got to figure something out. Be creative.
I'm actually gonna look up who did the Undertaker and Kane beat to become tag team champions. Undertaker, Kane tag titles. They are. Who did they defeat? They actually defeated. I want to say Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho.
Peace to Marks with Mikes, good
Marshall
folks over
Mike's was
there.
popping.
Peace to the Black Guy Wrestling Pod. Oh, while you're looking that up, shouts to the good Sir Low, who
Yo, that's
BG.
actually mad funny you say that because they actually had a tables match with the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian and No Way Out,
Oh, see, there you go. Who
and
won?
they lost because of Rikishi and Fatu. Rikishi and Haku interfered.
Okay, so there was some other who won the match? The Dudleys.
Um, I believe it was the Dudleys.
Right. So what I said goes, right? We can't outfight you, so we have to outthink you, or we have to have something happen to you that gives us the advantage, albeit temporarily. So you
Yeah,
can do
so
it.
Dudley's won. There was an interference that caused them because they were feuding with Haku and Rikishi. Then that was TLC at WrestleMania, which Edge and Christian won. And then Kane and Undertaker defeated Edge and Christian to win the tag titles
See?
with interference from Austin and Triple H. And yes, pretty much that was their reign. Then they lost it to Steve Austin and Triple H.
Yeah, you can
So
figure
they
that
beat Edge
shit
and
out.
Christian, smoked most of the division, and then lost to the main event guys.
You can. Yeah, end of the day, things can be figured out.
For
Things can be
sure.
figured out.
For sure.
Like I was saying, peace to Marks with Mike's, peace to the Black Guy Wrestling Pod, the good Sir Low, who
Yes, sir.
BGW just announced is the fifth member of their weekly show.
I
You
just
know what I mean?
peeped.
So happy for all of the above. That's a dope link up. Shouts to Keeks, who announced that she is officially retired. She is no longer potting. She's done, and she definitely left a hell of a mark in the game. You know what I mean?
Man, shout
Peace
to
to
Keeks.
Keeks. Yeah,
All
she's
elite
still
Keeks.
active on X and all
Oh, he
that, but
peeped. He peeped.
all elite with Keeks was a hell of a run. Shouts to everybody over at the
Real
Public
quick
Enemies
though,
Pod too.
also salute to everybody that is potting right now. Like everybody that's doing shows consistently. Like this shit is a grind, man. Like every view, every like, subscribe. We appreciate all of y'all like viewing, watching. We here just talking about grabs and making jokes and shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's really consistency that keeps people coming through every week. They fuck with us. They fuck with the personalities. They fuck with the content. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people don't got the heart to keep going with shit. So, if you feel like at some point you ain't trying to do the show no more, if you watching, listening to this, I commend you. You know what I mean? If you came this far and you just be like, yo, I'm done, everyone's got their reasons. But, salute to everybody that's been consistent. Keeks has got thousands of episodes, 100 episodes in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's put in her time. So,
And even more so than just the amount of episodes is the fact that she caused the conversation very often. You know what I mean? She
yes.
was at the head of many a conversation, which is what this is supposed to be about. This is supposed to generate, not engagement for the sake of having numbers, but because this is something that we're actually interested in and passionate about. It's supposed to be a conversation. You know what I
Real
mean?
talk.
And she definitely generated those. But shouts to Keeks, and once again, shouts and congrats to Low. BGW and all that. Black Guy
The
Wrestling Pod.
geysers.
Got something I'm cooking up for those fellas as well.
We got
Um,
Champions Watch.
mhm.
It's our Champions Watch segment of the week. We each pick a champion. We run down their week, tell them how we feeling. My champion this week, Shinsuke Nakamura, the new
Love to
United
see it.
States champion. Finally, what we thought was going to be the recurring L that he holds every time he comes back and has a feud, takes a break, comes back, takes a loss. He actually won. And LA Knight doesn't lose anything losing this US title. I mean, I for one believe LA Knight's so over, like at this point he doesn't really need the belt. Like he's a guy who should be in the upper main event to me. He should be in the main event picture. Because even when I look back at his year, it's like he had a hell of a fucking year without the US title. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like before 2023, before 2024 ish, he still had a main event with Roman Reigns. He had a main event with John Cena. He had a main event with Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. Like he still had a good run even before he got the U.S. title. I think he'll be just fine without it. So I'm not all the way up in smoke about LA Knight losing the belt
At all. Like I don't think that's a
at all.
bad thing at all. I don't think that's a
At all.
bad thing at all. In fact, again, this is why I always say like somebody wins a title, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to have these year-long title reigns. Like you can have something for 2 months, 3 months, flip it back and forth with somebody that you're in a feud with, whatever the creative is. And I think like Shinsuke is going to be around that US championship for a little bit. He's going to be in that scene. He's going to want to get his lick back on Nakamura, especially because Nakamura, he hit him with the mist. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Yes.
like this is just an up and up victory. This is, and it was pretty dominant. It wasn't
No,
like
he
it
did. He
like
did.
like Shinsuke put some pain down. You know what I
It's
mean?
almost like they didn't click, but it might have been storytelling. Because even Michael Cole kept saying like LA Knight just can't get shit off right now. Like he's just
Yeah, they
like
were
nothing's
running
working on this guy.
they
Like,
were running a lot of LA Knight just doesn't seem right tonight.
yes,
He came out and from the bell you could tell something was a little off. And whether
he
it
dropped
was
his
on
belt on the
yeah, but
entrance.
yeah, before he even got in the ring. Whether that was on purpose or not, let it be now part of the canon. Let it be part of the
Yes.
storyline. You know what I mean? Like, damn, Shinsuke really got underneath LA Knight's skin. First person to ever do that.
You know, while this could be a good rivalry, I will say though, damn, Melo, Andrade, or Santos Escobar, the least, did not get a chance to take the belt off LA Knight. I,
Hey,
not to
keep
say they
going.
won't, but at some point.
Yeah.
But damn, yo, like if there was a switch that was gonna happen, I for sure had a feeling like, yo, just do it during this like little tussle of Andrade and Melo and put the belt on Melo or Andrade and boost them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Shinsuke was just so left field that I was just like, where is this coming from? Like the usual Shinsuke return, beat down, loss. Like, so they course corrected. So that was cool.
Yeah, I dig it. I
That was
dig it.
cool.
And Mello and Andrade, it'd be there.
Who's your champion this week, yo? Who you got?
Who is my champion this week? That is a great question. Who is my champion this week?
I figured we were both probably gonna go with Shinsuke, but I don't know if you got somebody different.
No, like Shinsuke was fresh. Who is my champion this week? I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, that's it. Shinsuke Nakamura for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and say Shinsuke. Period. Like, man had two two theme songs in two shows in the span of two shows. Um, whatever this repackaging is, it's working. It's working. And I also noticed that, for example, you know how when he goes in the corner and he throws the foot and he does all the shaking and they call it the good vibrations. Like a lot of the cartoonish stuff that he was even doing in his last iteration, that's all out the window as well. This is just like really dark, really sinister, black mist instead of the red or the green. I like it.
You
You know what
know,
I mean? I
I
like it.
don't like the Miss, man.
I like the mist. I don't
I
like his
don't like
pants.
maybe not just in general. I'm just not a fan of the Mist as an
I
addition.
love I love the mist.
I'm just like, yo, this is a DQ, dog. Like, what the
No,
fuck are
it
we
should
doing?
be it
What are we
100% should be
doing?
a D. It should be a DQ, which is why I always appreciate when somebody is misted and then they're covered. When they're covered, they also cover their face, so the ref technically doesn't see any remnants of the miss until the guy gets up, but the match is already called.
What
Like,
in the AEW referees, man?
nah, that's cool. I don't like when the ref can see that the guy got misted in the face and then continues to just count.
Every
Like, do
Oscar match, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but like do something extra to cover their face when you make the cover. You
It's the
know,
blatant like, and it's like,
I like I like the mist. I just like when they also are smart about the way they cover it up. But yeah, no, I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Shinsuke also. Like, I just think some at some point during that match, maybe even before, I was like, nah, Shinsuke is winning this. Shinsuke is definitely winning this. It just felt like they went
yeah.
through a lot of effort to bring him back and do all of this repackaging. If he would have lost, I was like, damn, is he retiring? Like, is this like the farewell? Because what would you possibly be able to do?
Nah, it would have been endless humor. He had to win. He had to win because if he didn't, the IWC would have tore this return and the booking to shreds, and to the point where Levesque would have had to have heard this. There's no way he would have been like, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I know I fucked up, guys. My bad.
Sorry.
I'm gonna put the U.S. title on him on SmackDown. You got it. Like,
Sorry about that.
you got it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was a good quality one. Speaking
Nick
of Survivor Series,
Nemeth. Nick Nemeth versus AJ Francis at Final Resolution on December 13th. I
I
like it.
told you it's only gonna be a matter of time before AJ Francis is in the main event picture, being an obnoxious heel, and that's a good thing. I
I
think he's
like
gonna
it.
be TNA champion at some point too.
Heat.
He's a heel that's so heat magnety that it can work. He's got an entourage. He's got a stable ish, you know what I'm saying, crew going on with I think the Casey Navarro kid. I think that's his
Yeah.
name.
Hmm.
And Rich Swan whenever he comes back, first class. So I think he's got poised to be a world heavyweight champion in TNA. And it's crazy that I'm even saying that because I would have never thought I'd say that 2 years ago when he flew over the ropes. But
Nah, but like, well, definitely not then. Definitely not then. When he got released, I was like, nah, he's done.
yo, future TNA champion now loaded on that flip.
But kudos to him, man. Like he got his value up, man. He put
And
his
he turned
name
it
up.
around. He
He
turned it
put his
around.
name up. A lot of people was like, nah, he was just a punchline, 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 punchline. He's doing his thing.
TNA has a lot of strong main event contenders right now.
Yeah.
Josh Alexander is
Yep.
there for now. Steve Macklin is on a babyface run. Um, you could throw in Jeff Hardy and Matt whenever you want because they're now
Hendry
re-signed.
Hendry's always gonna be there as long
Hendry's
as
going to
he's
be
hot.
there. Santana,
Santana's a threat.
you know what I mean?
There's a
So
lot
they've
going on
got
there.
credible people whenever it's time for Nick Nemeth to drop the title. I have no idea when he's going to drop the title. I feel like he should drop it soon, but it's just no telling when it's going to happen. So, you know, he's doing his thing as a champion, but I think it is time for a little bit of a switch up. If not Joe Henry, then it's got to be somebody good, somebody real good. So it's our TNA talk for the week. Don't say we didn't cover TNA, y'all, because we covered TNA in depth right there for you. You dig? Uh, it's real quick. We can do a Continental Classic recap. How you feeling so far about it?
Trying to think what match I thought kind of. So I like I didn't think that Daniel Garcia and Okada was gonna go to a draw. So I thought
I had
that
a
was
feeling. I had a feeling I was going to go to a draw. I just didn't see
I
either man
didn't at
losing.
all.
That's not a match where either man had to lose.
But I mean, like the Continental Classic, I think is fine for somebody to lose because it doesn't necessarily signify the end of their tournament. You know, because it's a point based round robin type of situation, they could always make the win up later on. You know,
That is kind of my gripe with it a little to an extent because I hate to see Shelton taking a pinfall like he did to Kyle Fletcher, even with the Hanson Road Fletcher.
I love that.
Because they're building Kyle Fletcher. I get it. I get it. I get it. But Shelton,
It's not even just because of that. Like I just think that again, Shelton Benjamin doesn't lose. He's not. Is Shelton Benjamin come out worse? Was he in a
no,
worse position?
he's just such a beast compared to Kyle Fletcher. He's a vet. It was a strong match. He stretched his ass out. Pause. But I just think like, damn, Shelton winning keeps him clearly apart from Bobby. To me, him losing and being the first person to take a pinfall in the Hurt Club, Hurt Syndicate, I mean, just automatically puts him right there, like underneath as the sidekick to Bobby. And I just didn't want that to be the focal of the Hurt Syndicate, which is where that follow up
That
segment came after with MVP.
yeah, I mean to that extent, I think that's fair. That's fair. but I also think like it wasn't a fair loss. So it just to me is just like you were out of position for 3 seconds versus you're underneath Bobby Lashley. You know what I mean? Because at some point Bobby Lashley's going to take a loss also. You know what I mean? So I think that that's fair. And Bobby Lashley might take a loss that isn't because somebody cheated. He might, Swerve and Bobby are not over, for example. You know what I mean? So house
Yes.
call, it might just get knocked the hell out. Right. And then Shelton Benjamin has all the right in the world to talk his shit. He held the ropes. You got knocked out.
Let's just not do what WWE did or what AEW usually does and disband a fucking dope faction after a couple of weeks of
Yeah.
history. It's
Yeah.
like, that's one thing I just like. No,
I don't
let's
want
not
to see
speed
that.
that up. Like,
Yeah,
let's
I
not.
don't want to see that. But nah,
Yeah.
I thought that was that was a that was a cool ending, And again, like if, for example, Kyle Fletcher just has this amazing victory over Will Ospreay, and then he loses his first Continental Class. You know what I mean? So I think it's fair within a tournament for anybody to lose on any given night.
He didn't
But
win a
the
belt though, so why should Daniel Garcia take a pinfall?
versus Okada, who is the self-proclaimed greatest tournament champion of all time, tournament
No,
wrestler of all time.
Danny Garcia just won his first belt in AEW. The first, you know what I mean, is TNT champion. He got to be the one to eat a pinfall. I mean, that's not what happened, but obviously
But
that's the alternative.
Daniel Garcia is not Daniel Garcia is going to get pinned at some point in this tournament.
Who do you think wins this tournament overall?
Okada,
You think Okada wins?
100%. Okada wins this.
Okay.
I initially I think Okada could be one. I can also see that they might do. Is Osprey and Fletcher in the same block, or are they on
Yeah, they
opposite blocks?
are.
They are.
I want to say, don't quote me on that
Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up.
because I know people have been saying they are inevitable to have their rematch within the tournament. So it might just come down to them being in the finals if they're in different color leagues.
What
Yeah,
year is
that
this? This is
is
2024. All right, Continental Classic. Boom, 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 boom. Darby, Claudio. I liked Claudio and Brody King. That was a dope match.
that was good.
Darby, Claudio, they're not in the same bracket, by the way. So I can see the finals also being Osprey. Put it this way, because two people instead of just one and one. Once we get to I think World's End, there's going to be two from the gold that fight in the gold finals, two from the blue that fight in the blue finals, and then later on the same night, for the actual Continental Crown for the title. So it's almost like a little
Okada
mini King of the
Claudio.
Ring.
I think positioning Claudio to win this whole shit to get to the rematch with him and Okada.
Claudio has looked great, but I don't see Claudio being the guy. Not of any fault of his own. I just think the star power across the rest of the tournament is just. I've never seen Claudio that guy. I don't see like where all of a sudden he would be primed for a push of that nature.
All of a sudden, he's main eventing Dynamite 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like like I love what he does, but he's Arn Anderson. He's Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson was not the main event of Starcade. You know what I mean? It's just that wasn't his role.
So,
Um,
what you think
but
about
yeah,
Commander's
like
chances?
Commander's there to eat pins. He's gonna have great matches.
Once I realized that, like, I did a little deep dive on the AEW fanatics on Twitter.
Oh, I stayed clear the hell out of that. I don't even know what any of that riffraff was about. I went
Uh,
on and I saw a bunch of people saying, "Yo, it's crazy today," and I got off. I don't got time for that shit.
well, I just did the deep just because I saw the Commander shit, and I was like, I wonder what AEW Twitter is saying. And they're always gonna come to the fucking defense of everything, but the logic makes sense. They're like, yo, you want Ricky Starks in here to eat pinfalls because that's all he would have done anyways. So it's like you might as well have Commander here to just like wow people and take pinfalls. And
Yeah,
yes,
hundred
you're a
percent.
fan of Juice Robinson. I'm a fan of Juice Robinson. It sucks that he had to get injured, but
Yeah,
essentially, Commander has more wins. And in terms of popularity, Juice is more popular outside of the ring, and Commander is more popular in the ring. And for a wrestling tournament, you need that excitement in the ring. So a Commander would be the better choice to eat these pinfalls in quality matches. So
And the other part is like, let's not sleep on because this is going to be their highlight for the next, however many weeks. It's always a good opportunity for somebody to shine a little bit more than they usually do. For example, look at how high Brody King's stock rose last year because we don't get a chance to usually see him in that one-on-one setting, and he killed it last year to the point where he had momentum coming out of that. Not like necessarily creatively, but when he comes out and that fan response is always there, you're always good as long as the fans are
seen
with
him in
you.
the bright jacket instead of a dark one and was befuddled. I was like, what's going on here?
But
This ain't how
like
to black man.
that, I think that's part of the reason why Brody's back in the tournament this year. You know what I mean? He shined last year. We don't usually see him in those one-on-ones. So not we know what Commander can do, but we also don't always see Commander going up against some of the people that he's going to be going up against now and the types of
Yeah,
matches they're going to be having. So
I heard Ricochet.
it could be good for him. It would have also been that situation, by the way, for Juice Robinson, because again, like Juice is one of those guys who might have surprised people by how good he actually is, because they see him as like more of a cartoon character than this guy that
Yes,
can actually go. And I'm not saying he's Saber Jr., but he's like really good.
it's a
He's
former U.S. champ. Like he ain't no
eh,
slouch.
so because they always see him as like the sidekick and some of the antics more so than I think a guy that can really go 6 weeks in a row of that guy going would have brought his stock up a bit.
I agree.
But heal up, get well.
Get well
So yeah,
soon.
so gold bracket is Darby, Claudio, Osprey, Ricochet, Brody King, and Commander. The blue is Okada, Fletcher, Garcia, Mark Briscoe, Shelton Benjamin, and Morsos. And there are some fire matches to be had. But if I'm going right now, top two from the gold and top two from the blue, I'm gonna go Okada and Fletcher coming out of the blue, and I'm going to go definitely Osprey. I don't know if it would be Darby. I might go
I'm going Claudio.
Claudio and Osprey and Okada and Fletcher coming out of this
You need the
tournament. I got to
marquee matches at World's End or to sell World's End.
yeah. You always have that threat, for example, of Osprey versus Okada. That's gonna that'll do numbers.
Osprey Ricochet too.
Osprey
Osprey
Ricochet too. Yeah, Ricochet's not going to the finals, but I think is that two or three? Have they had
for
one match or
AEW
two?
World.
Have
I'll
they
say
had
two.
one or two matches in AEW?
One
One. Okay,
triple threat. I don't count.
that's what
This
it
is
was. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
every main event match makes sense. Osprey, Claudio, Osprey, Ricochet. Those are the top ones. Then Fletcher Okada or Shelton Okada or Mark Briscoe Okada.
And then also like there is no elite anymore. At least the
Pretty
elite that
much.
was surrounding Okada. Like there's no Perry, there's no Young Bucks. That's all gone.
Yeah, that whole group went the fuck home, son. So much for that Tony Khan fucking Meltzer driver punch in the gut
Hey,
elite.
look,
Like, yo,
I'm
that
glad
shit
at
got
some point
packed up.
somebody realized it wasn't working and they got it out of here. So I'm glad. Like, let's not
I'm with
belabor
you
the
on
point.
that though.
Let's not belabor the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't working. Let's get it out of here.
Niggas say, yo, shh.
It's just,
End this. What is that? Yo, everybody lose their belts and just go home for a little while.
yeah, that wasn't the role. So yeah,
Uh, Continental Classic's looking good. The AEW main event scene is looking good too. I was excited for last night. Good turnaround.
absolutely. Like
Finally, some
Hank,
spark.
Hangman, Jay White both have eyes on Mox. We saw Orange Cassidy come back dressed as a camera guy. He chokes Mox out. Darby Allen is always waiting you know,
And Christian is
in
waiting
the
above
wing.
all of that.
Christian, exactly. Christian has that case. So I think it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I like it.
It's refreshing for a change to see this many challengers. I know a lot of people are not crazy about the Fatal Four Way 6 pack challenges, but this is a rare time where it's like, yo, a Fatal Four Way or a 6 pack is dope because you can create the illusion that Moxley can lose the belt because he doesn't have to get pinned, only for him to come through and retain the belt on the last second when he kicks someone out the ring from their finisher and takes a pin. It's like,
I'm with some of those. Like I like the fatal four in this situation. I think the fatal four way would be good if Mox wins and escapes because I think the money is always in a one on one match. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want the title to change hands in a four way. That feels like almost anticlimactic. Like if Hangman wins, for example, in a four
But
way.
that's pretty dope though. I don't think we see that often. Like I think that actually would be a dope thing to like actually just give it to us. Pause. Like, yo,
I don't know. I
not this time, but
maybe not
for
yeah, not for this time. I think like for this championship, like being the guy to take Mox down instead of winning situationally, it feels like more of like, all
yes,
right, we're closing the book, you know?
it's tricky when you say that because it's like you really don't know how that could play out in regards to the fanfare. There is no definitive end. The champion still has the rights to a rematch, so you
That's what
still
I'm
got
saying.
that. But I like that. So I like that element of surprise personally. I like that. Like, yo, say this did happen at Double or Nothing, Hangman or Jay White wins the title by pinning pockets, and then Jay White's the world champion for a month until he has that match with Moxley again, and Moxley wins it back. Even that element of surprise randomness, I do still appreciate that in wrestling. Like
Yeah.
we always expect people to win and retain their belts in the Fatal Four. We never go into a Fatal Four Way match or a six pack challenge thinking the champion's gonna lose. Like we're conditioned to not think that at all because it never happens that way. Like never happens that way. So, once in a while, I wouldn't mind actually seeing, like, oh shit, the champion didn't even get pinned for a change. They always threaten us with it as the announce team. Yo, the champion
Right.
didn't have to get pinned. And it's like, well, the champion did not get pinned in this match. And he lost his title.
Right. 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 Right.
I actually would not mind seeing that play out. So I'm looking forward to this match, this multi-man match, if it happens at World's End. Hopefully that is the match. And it's not just eliminator singles matches, tournaments to get to a one-on-one match with Moxley at World's End, yo. I really hope that's not the case.
I
Like,
mean, end of the day, there's a lot of people that he's beefing with. You know what I mean? So I think
it's too many tournaments to have another tournament to determine the number one contender. Just give us the
no,
four
but
way.
my point is like he's beefing with a lot of people right now. So I don't think it would go that route. You know, I think if anything, you could see a situation like, for example, Hangman and Jay White already have issues. But if
Yes.
you have the issues that they already had and then add in there's a world title shot on the line, they're gonna kill each other.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're
Bloodbath.
gonna kill each other. And
This there will be blood.
Mox is gonna stir the pot, you
There
know?
will be blood here. So I like that. And essentially you have built up Moxley's next couple of challenges.
Yeah. Yep.
Rematch with
And
pockets.
they're formidable. Like I can see if Hangman and Mox, for example, have a match, four way or otherwise, if Hangman is involved, it's not so far out of the realm of possibility that Page wins. Same thing with Jay White. Like Jay White hasn't been a world champ in AEW yet. He will be a world champ in AEW, I believe. Right. So it feels a little bit more believable to me than it did when Orange Cassidy was the challenger.
Number one contender.
Yeah, I didn't that was like we need a pay-per-view main event. So Mox
Here you
needs
go.
we gotta feed somebody to Mox, you know?
Yo, Orange Cassidy's credible, guys. Come on. What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's his moment now. Like,
Orange
you heard
Cassidy,
every story in the book about why, how, when, and the justification for
yeah,
it.
like
So,
Orange when they came out of the his first TNT reign and they didn't immediately make whatever the necessary changes were to not only capitalize on that momentum, but change a couple of things very, slightly enough about his character to make him like, oh, he's a real threat. He regressed after that.
literally his gimmick of, yo, I don't care I lost.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
he regressed so much so that they gave him the title again, and it didn't have the same heat that it did the first time.
And that was a whole year and change ago. God damn. Like
Yeah,
exactly a year ago. So
yeah,
that is funny. I mean, before Pockets even came out and did the choke, I saw the Jay White situation going down, and I was like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with Jay White and John Moxley at World's End. Like, if that was the match before Hangman and Cassidy came out, that's all I was thinking. I was like, this is the World's End main event? I'm here for this. I can fuck with Jay White and Moxley. Like,
yeah.
works for me. So,
Jay White is a threat, and I think like Jay is to me again like such a great counter wrestler. I think he's probably the best guy at taking whatever offense you're throwing at him and just finding a way out of that shit.
Nah, his selling is
And
it's
that,
Osprey should take note on the selling. Like I think his selling of these past 2 weeks beatdowns have been
I don't
like
know.
primo.
Again, I think is there's so much like it's just cool to say that Osprey doesn't sell when he's in
Yo,
the
bro,
middle
it's
of
a
a match.
video game. That's all. It's
Dog,
just
how
that's just
so? How
it.
when he's in the middle of a
It's
match and he kicks out, but it's not a kick out. It's just I barely got my shoulder up. He's selling.
yo. We could go down the whole. We didn't talk about Full Gear, but on my natural gut, I did not enjoy that Kyle Fletcher Osprey match to the best of my abilities. I was just the kickouts, the pile drivers. It's just like too formalic to me when it comes to these two, or at least Osprey matches. And I fuck with Osprey matches. I'm not saying I don't fuck with Osprey shit. It's just like it's a clear distinction of the difference in matches that he has with a lot of other people, as opposed to other people on the actual roster. Because Ricochet and Takeshita had the same match damn near, and that shit just didn't really hit. But Osprey and Fletcher, like I said, I fuck with it. But it's just I just was like, oh, here's a kick out. Here's a kick out. There's the kitchen sink. There's that. Here's that again. Here's the flying, the tombstone, the pile driver, the backflip, the Canadian destroyer, the kick, the super kick, and then a brainbuster ends it. Like, all right, man. All right, man. I think I just, you know what I mean? I don't want to sound like grumpy old man, get off my lawn, but it's like, Jesus Christ, dogs. I just want more story with the actual wrestling in this shit sometimes. We had
I
30
mean,
minutes of wrestling on Raw,
dog,
and the whole show was on fire.
the
Like,
story with Osprey from the first attack was he went after his neck and he sold his neck the entire match. I don't like maybe we're watching two different matches.
you know what? It's like to me, I just think the shit shouldn't have went as long, and the shit shouldn't have had as many kick out moments. I think if Kyle Fletcher has
I'll give you one. I'll give you one. I think for the vast majority of the matches on that card, they all could have done well shaving 2 minutes off, 3 minutes, 4 minutes
for
off.
sure,
All
for
of the
sure.
matches, right? But the kickouts really don't bother me because I'm not looking at this has to be the end of the match. There's fighting spirit, there's adrenaline, and Osprey is one of the to me the best sellers. Period, and he sold his neck the entire match.
I mean, it ain't NXT levels of bad selling. It ain't Trick Williams. I'm not saying he's the worst seller, but it's a clear distinction from him and some of the other people on that roster when it comes to the selling. And Osprey definitely is one of those people. When I look at his sell job, I'll be like,
We're gonna agree to disagree. This is
yeah,
going. This is
I
going.
feel
This is
like it's
going to go in
fair.
circles. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I
you
know,
know,
I
we'll
know.
agree to disagree.
I just wanted to just, you know, I just don't want Kyle Fletcher to just be the guy that just hits you with everybody. That's another thing too. I don't like the Styles Clash. I don't like the Styles Clash. I don't like Osprey using other people's moves. I don't like that shit. Like I really don't. Like I just want him to use the hidden blade, the Tiger Driver, whatever he does, the Os Cutter, and just keep it to that. But him using everyone else's finishers for them to kick out at one or two, I don't like that. Like that's the shit I don't like. I can't front. Like I don't. I
Doesn't bother me at all because
don't
I
use the
don't.
Styles Clash. Like I wish some finishers were really still protected.
I think protected finish is a fucking myth, right? Because for example, Jake Roberts invented the DDT and it was protected until everybody used it. So let's take the DDT out. I think like there's so many moves. I think if the person who clearly has this as their finisher uses it, that's one thing. It's not a finishing move for anybody else. It's fair game. There's mad people that use tombstone pile drivers, but then there's the Undertaker's tombstone pile driver.
Yep, everybody uses that
Leo
tombstone
Rush uses a
system.
stunner. It hasn't ended a match. That's fine.
Nobody's tombstone. Nobody's when people just devalue the move. It's just like
It's not,
holy
but it's not a
fuck.
devalue. How is it a devalue? It was never their finishing move. It was never their finishing move. What devalues the finishing move more, if you want to take it there, is if this is your finishing move and you never beat anybody. That devalues a
So
finishing
you're
move. But
saying the Stevie T wasn't getting it done? That's a devalue. Stevie
If
Richards DDT.
well, Stevie Richards didn't win matches from anything as far as I could tell. So, you know, his value was in taking the L, right? But again, like it's if it's your finishing move, you're if people kicked out of the Stone Cold Stunner as often as The Rock kicked out of the Stone Cold Stunner, then it's not really to be respected. But if Leo Rush uses a stunner and Willie Mack uses a stunner, this person uses a cutter, that person using a cutter, it's a move that you have in your arsenal. The kayfabe in me says you're not applying the move with the same, you know,
Ferocity,
precision.
intensity.
100%. Dog, there were two Hart brothers. One of them was the master of the sharpshooter. The other one just used it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't devalue. I ain't mad at that man for using the Styles Clash. It always, man, if it gets a reaction out of the crowd, it can't be the wrong, you know, wrong move.
You know,
But
when
it
it
was
comes
also never his finishing move.
when it comes to Fletcher, I just don't want him to be the insane move kick out, and then I'm gonna hit you with the random ass move, and that's a finisher. Like I want Kyle Fletcher to develop a very evil heelish move set personally. Like
I think a brainbuster off the top rope is fucking pretty. That's
that's
pretty bad.
fine, but yo, like let's not do Canadian Destroyer, pile driver, cutter, super kick. Like let's just have more psychology of your evil ways, Kyle Fletcher. Be an evil man. Like if you're gonna look like Randy Orton in '09, Randy didn't RKO and punt everybody every other move. He actually was wrestling and kind of fucking niggas up. Like in being evil and dismantling niggas, picking them apart with precision. I see that for Kyle Fletcher. I just don't want to see him hitting everyone else's finishing move for kickouts to then hit you with the random move that the crowd is like, huh? That's the end of the match? You see what I'm saying? Like, I just want
No,
him to
I
have his
I
own.
I get it, but I'm not sure that they've really established anything for him yet as a real finisher.
He
So maybe
almost would
that
have
comes
been
with
better
time.
off going to Japan and having his own young boy excursion. And then
I
come
don't
back
think
as the
so.
finished product.
I don't think so because
We
dog,
watched him go from a skater boy
I'll
to
here's
to the
here's
to
here's how I
evil guy.
disagree. Here's how I disagree. Right, Hurt Syndicate in AEW are positioned as heels, right?
Cool, cool heels.
Are
Tweeners.
but they're heels.
They're tweeners. I say they're tweeners. MVP plays the crowd. They're tweeners.
He plays to the crowd, but they're positioned more heel than face.
Gray area. We agree to
They've
disagree.
done such a good job with Kyle Fletcher that he was immediately the heel in the match with Shelton Benjamin and got the heel reaction that you want your
Yes.
heels to get. So I think they're doing a great job with him. You know, like they've done a really, really good job of establishing him as not being a Will Ospreay clone. That's why he wears trunks now. That's why he shaved his head. And they've also done a really good job of getting the crowd to boo him. You want a heel to be booed? He's a heel that's being booed.
I just wanted to unlock his vicious heel. That's my only thing watching that match. I want to see him be a psycho. I think he could be a real '09 Randy Orton level of like, yo, I'm deranged. Like I will punch you in the head.
I think they I think accomplished that with Will. They just have to have him do that consistently with other people. I think like the personal issue was there, and the fact that you would go that far to attack a guy that their whole story and their background. If that's the direction they want to go in, as far as being that psychotic, vicious heel, he has to do that consistently with other people. You know,
Agreed.
he has to be. I think he did a good job, not necessarily psycho vicious heel, but just being a bad guy that you're supposed to dislike, and that's why I think his the way that he beat Shelton was effective. You're supposed to dislike, the guy that holds the ropes. So I think they're doing a good job. I don't know exactly what type of heel, if he's going to be typecast but as long as he's getting that reaction, I think they're doing a solid job with him.
It should be good. We'll see what becomes of it with
Yep.
Kyle Fletcher. Shit. Before we get up out of here, highs and lows of Survivor Series. How you feel? What's your favorite? What's your worst?
Oh man, just war games matches in general. I'm enough.
Go back to Survivor Series matches. I'm with you though. Go
Yeah,
back to the
enough.
traditional 5-on-5. Like even if one match is a War Games, let the other one be the traditional elimination tag.
I think I wouldn't even do that anymore. The War Games needs to be in the same realm as the Hell in a Cell, the way that they just did it with Punk and McIntyre, to where we should only be pulling out this type of a match for a feud that earned it. Right? We saw McIntyre and Punk fly across the world to attack one another, and that was a logical end for that feud. For War Games, it should be that multiplied by 4 or 5 people on either side. And if
You
it's
would
not
think
at
it'd
that
be that.
level, yeah, if it's not at that level, and then we shouldn't be doing it. Now you can make the argument that the bloodline thing kind of warranted it, but I don't know. It just loses the luster when it's just like, oh, Survivor Series time, let's do the War Games. We don't need to
It's
do that.
bad blood. Let's do Hell in a Cell because it's the fall.
Exactly. Yeah, TLC,
It's
so let's do TLC. Let's do,
yes.
it
It's
needs,
one of those manufactured. We know
yeah,
it's
I need a
coming.
feud. I need a feud that warrants it. But my highlight was the triple threat.
Me too. Those three could go any variation one on
Yeah,
one. Man, when that pop when Sheamus beats Braun Breaker at WrestleMania to win the IC title, finally,
yeah.
it's gonna
They
be
wanted him.
monumental.
They wanted him to load up and knock his head off with that bro kick and couldn't do it. And that was really good.
It's gonna be even better when he finally wins it one on one. Like they've been talking about it, like alluding to it, like it's inevitable. Even if Braun takes a detour and feuds elsewhere, I still think that he comes back and he's the one who beats Braun Breaker at WrestleMania and has his own WrestleMania moment. You know what I mean? Of finally being the IC champion for the first time.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, that was my highs and lows. Like just war games in general. I thought there were cool spots from both matches. Like the women's match caught a bunch of flack. Um, I think my lows is the fact that Bronson Reed and Jimmy Uso both got hurt. That
yeah, that
sucks.
was tough.
That sucks, man.
That was
And
tough.
it almost looked like Jacob Fatu, hurt himself. I haven't heard that he's out, but
Tough on
that's
Friday.
what sucked. Both
Yo,
on splashes too. Splashes off the top.
you would think that after the Adam Copeland move at Double or Nothing, that people would have just been like, "Yo, I'm gonna just chill on like these dives off the
Yeah, good
cage." Just
call. Good call.
like that took the whole year off my man. Like I'm hyped for when he gets back in the ring, but it's like, yo, we really could have used Adam Copeland at any point of this John Moxley fucking takeover. Where are the main stars in AEW? Fucking question. You know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
it's weird too because like we've seen, let's say we've seen Snooker jump off the cage, we've seen Foley. I've saw Foley jump off the cage, not the Hell in a Cell, like a regular steel
man,
cage and
fam,
hit the elbow.
we
And both
watched
of them came out like unscathed,
we
you
watched
know,
Kurt Angle and Cody Rhodes moonsault off the
moonsault,
top of
right?
steel cages.
So it's strange, like fluke. If I remember correctly, Adam Copeland's was weird because he like come almost hesitated, like half jumped, and it was just
Yes, it looked like he literally just like jumped and just landed on his feet and was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have
yeah,
did that.
shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that."
Bronson Reed and Jimmy was like, I've seen that splash a bunch of times, both off the top rope and the top of the cage, and they just both caught bad ones. Coincidence that it
Speaking
happened in
of,
the same.
speaking of, today in history, TNA history,
Hmm.
Elix Skipper did that viral Hurricane Rana off of the top of the six side to steel against
Yes,
America's Most
sir.
Wanted.
Peace to
That
the
was
good sir.
today. That was this day in wrestling history. Classic viral moment. I watched that live. I couldn't even believe it. That was an like even to this day rewatching it, I was just like, yo, I remember watching this. Like
Yeah.
that was '04. Like everybody was like, did he just do that? Did he just do a Hurricane Rana off of the top of a steel cage?
I
Like,
wish I'd have seen that live. Roosevelt's finest, man. Elix Scipio.
bro,
One of these days, I'm gonna go back to the crib. I have a picture of me, Elix, my mom, and Raphael the Ninja Turtle.
yo, you did. You showed me that. You definitely
Yeah.
showed me that. Yeah, I
I'm a, I'm
remember
a,
that.
I'm gonna throw that on the pod one day.
Shout to Elix Skipper, man. That was a
He
hell of a
skipped.
moment. One of the biggest viral moments in all of professional wrestling, TNA wrestling, like replayed to this day 20 years later. insane. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that I mean that moment is gonna forever be one of TNA's top. They're always going to show that in any kind of greatest hits. Like that's one of their best moments ever. One of the best moments in wrestling.
just
It just
from
looks insane.
a
It
precision standpoint, my
yeah.
bro, of
That's
him
one
just
of
like
those.
him
Oh,
having to shuffle up and get on that cage and
and tightrope the top of the cage, land a hurricane rana, and not break your neck. You know what I'm saying? Anything goes a half a centimeter left or right, and we have catastrophe.
just yo, bro, just him propping up to do the catwalk. I was rewatching the clip like, yo, this is kind of fucking nuts. Like,
Nah, it's nuts.
dog,
It's nuts.
one wrong move and you low blowing yourself on the top of a steel cage or worse.
It's nuts.
So shout to that moment this day in wrestling. I had to get that to y'all.
Listen, coming from a guy every once in a while, I stumble coming up the steps. Piece of that man, Elix Skipper for catwalk in the cage.
Catwalking for the Hurricane Rhino off the cage, man. Viral moment in TNA.
Yeah.
Before we wrap, just want to mention real quick. EC3 recently just said on his show, "There's way too many fucking belts in the WWE. There's way too many belts in wrestling, period." And I was like, I couldn't just help but bring that up here on the pod. We can discuss that further next week, but I just found that to be kind of fitting as they were talking about the Intercontinental and the U.S. title from the women's. And he was just like, yo, it almost devalues you because as a former 3-time TNA world champion, it's like, yo, that's the former 3-time TNA world champion. And he's the 10-time former WWE 24/7 champion. It's like, yo, don't mention none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, like
yo,
I ain't asked for all that,
yeah,
dog.
I'm the world champ. Just call me a former world champion, dog. I don't. You ain't got to tell me I'm a 3-time fucking
Yeah.
24/7 champion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've been watching shouts to the folks over at Grapple and What Culture, matter of fact. But Hamflet and Benno, Hamflet from What Culture and Benno from Grapple
mm,
have a nice, cool series just going through the In Your House series. Like they're just reviewing old In Your
mm,
House. I'll send it to you. It's dope. Um, I think they've done like maybe 2 episodes so far. But between the In Your House and the WWE Vault channel on YouTube, I've just been having like old shit running in the
they are
background
just running
while
up
I'm working.
everything out that vault right now.
Yeah, there's some fire. There's some fire. But the In Your House era was like 3 belts. You know, like a lot of the Federation era years and New Generation, Hulkamania, WrestleMania era, all of that was the world title, Intercontinental, and the tag. That's it.
Yes,
And you would be able to track the progression of somebody coming from the tag division and then making their way into the intercontinental division. And then if they were so lucky and fortunate and good enough to make it into the world division, look at Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels being 2 prime examples of that. Came up as the Rockers and the Hart Foundation, broke away from the tag teams, went into the intercontinental division, and then won their world title. Uh,
and in
Bret
a
beat
certain case of some wrestlers, the Intercontinental is meant to be the workhorse title because in the case of a guy like Diesel or you know some other random people have won Yokozuna, once you're the main dog, you ain't really doing too much. You're kind of just coming through and squashing motherfuckers and keeping
you
it
know
moving.
something too, like I've always hated that workhorse champion made it onto television language. You know what I mean? Like that feels like we should be talking about that when we're producing the show, not like we're on television talking about, oh, you're the intercontinental title holder, so you're the workhorse.
You're the hardest working wrestler in the business because
Like the
next up is the world
world
title.
champ is right there. Why are we saying that on TV? You
But
know
the
what I
world
mean?
champ is a sniveling heel who never wants to wrestle or defend their belt. So I kind of see some of that.
Except for when he's Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like Cody Rhodes should not allow anybody else holding any other title to be called the workhorse champion.
Who's called the workhorse champion in WWE?
I'm just saying in general, this
Oh
is
no, no, I,
language.
I know.
Yeah, language that
I was
it
like,
should
who is the
never
workhorse?
be on, it should never be on TV. But yeah, to that point, it's like, let's just I think we're so far gone that it just is what it is at this point.
Yes,
I think like that genie is never going back in the bottle, unless they make it a point to actually consolidate titles, which ain't happening in WWE for damn sure.
I
And
just when I caught
AEW, there's always that opportunity. We can take the Continental and the hell's the name of it?
international,
International, and we could just, but they're not gonna do it. So
I thought it was a good topic. That's the only reason why I wanted to bring him because he was just like, yo, I can't pinpoint the AEW like secondary mid card title precisely. Like, there's no clear distinction for me, and as a viewer, that concerns me. And I was just like, I guess
100%.
so.
Like it was the TNT until we introduced other titles.
Yeah, it's like international. It could
Yeah,
be a national
it
one day.
was it was the TNT, and now we have international and what's the Continental. I
Continental.
think the only cool thing about the Continental is like because it's attached to a tournament, there's something that at least
It's
makes that unique.
focus.
Except once the tournament is over, that title should be put up.
Oh, the crown jewel belt.
Yeah, it should just be put. Yeah, right. It's what it really should be. You
Because
know,
where's Takeshita right now in that international title? You know what
I
I'm
don't know
saying?
who. I don't know who are the trios champions.
Like, oh, the Death Riders, but you wouldn't know that because they don't come out with their belts anymore.
They're just on goon time, and so much so that Claudio is in a tournament for another title.
Yes, and Yuta doesn't wrestle; he just comes through and causes a distraction. And Pac again also
Pack
doesn't wear
is
his
just
belt
in
either.
full gear at all times. You know,
The two primary belts are on the group that does not wear their belts because they're anti the belts. It's like, all right, word, word. So we'll discuss more next week about that belt topic. But I just thought
yeah,
I wanted to throw that up there. It was a good one. Too many belts, it's kind of getting out of hand, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. There's a lot to keep up with,
it's a lot.
and not a lot of credibility with some of these guys and the belts that are being won. So that was that, man. It's another good episode.
112, man. For Blame Boogie, for the good sir Chad Law. My name is Ayo Baker, and we out of here. It's the Ringside Club, man.